we speak on behalf of our watch team. I would like to acknowledge all the ancestral traditional territories, lands, and waters across Turtle Island where we work, play, live, and most of all learn from. I acknowledge the unceded ancestral traditional lands and waters of the Coast Salish, where I connect my body, mind, heart, and spirit, and from where I'm speaking from today. I honor the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish. I'd like us to take a moment to remember all those that have gone on before us, and their voices will be forever heard. Next slide. As we remember those that have gone on before us, I would like to start our presentation with words from my grandfather. That is, teachers, we are learners, and as learners, we are teachers. And that old knowledge is new knowledge. Sorry, new knowledge is old knowledge to new peoples. I would like to open our presentation today with honoring the 7 directions. And I should introduce myself, Ninja Luisi Valerie. I said my name is Valerie in my Mi'kmaq language. That is my GST name. The name given to me 7 days after my birth was the one the eagles watch over. I've been gifted the name Nodi Wenda, which means wolf eyes, and Auntie from the Torres Strait Islanders. I am a Mi'kmaq, Haida, Gypsy, and UK Islander descent, and these are my Mi'kmaq teachings from my grandfather. I acknowledge the East, the direction of the sunrise and new beginnings. Each new sunrise brings us new light and new opportunities to grow in wisdom. And the East gives us the gift of awareness, and I give thanks. The South is the direction of summer warmth and abundance. The South brings us the warm winds of compassion and to melt the ice that can gather around our hearts and dissolve our fears, melt our hatreds, and kindle our love into flames of true and living realities. South gives us the gift of understanding. I give thanks. West, the direction of the setting sun and the autumn season. This is the direction of our elders, keepers of wisdom and patience. And the West teaches us that the end of our days is no more sad than the end to a single day, and the end is often better than the beginning. West gives us the gift of knowledge, and I give thanks. North, the direction of the winter that covers the earth with a sparkling carpet, crystal carpet, above whose deep tranquility every sound is beautiful. North gives us the gift of wisdom, and I give thanks. Up, the direction of our Creator, our ancestors, Grandmother Moon, Father Sky, and Grandfather Sun. As we look upon the day's infinite blue sky or admire the countless stars of the night, we are reminded that the Great Spirit is vast, beautiful, and majestic beyond all of our knowing and telling. The direction of up gives us the gift of visions, and I give thanks. The direction of down, to Mother Earth, our source of life and her lifeblood water, teaches us to remain aware that we are all interconnected in this web of life. And the direction of down gives us the gift of connections. I give thanks. The 7th direction is within, and acknowledge and honor our own spirits. We often don't consider ourselves to be important or to be of value, but we are. We are life in action, loving, moving, growing. In our center is the home of our heart. May we always return to this place so that we may know the meaning of our journey. From our center, our heart, we can reach out to all directions and to all our relations. Within has given us the gift of home, and I give thanks. I ask us to open our spirits, our minds, our bodies, and our hearts to listen to this work and the women's voices in a good way, with respect, love, honesty, truth, humility, wisdom, and courage, for it truly takes courage to make change. Nasamat is a Musqueam word from the lands that I'm on, which means we are all one. All my relations, we Ellen. Thank you. I would like to now turn it over to Krista.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much to Valerie Nicholson for her wonderful prayer to set the foundation for our gathering here today. Thank you so much. I lift my hands up to you. Hi. Tanse, my name is Krista Shore. I am Rolling Thunder woman, and I come from Popikissis First Nations here in Treaty 4 territory in the prairies. I am a positive woman, and I've been thriving since about 2007. So that's what brings me here into this wonderful group today. And at this moment, I just want to take the time to sing a song and really honor our ways of being, seeing, and doing in the community. So I'm going to sing a song for you. Thank you. Thank you. That's the Strong Woman song. I sing it in memory of my mom, and just thoughts out to all of us women here thriving in this journey, our comrades that walk along with us, and yeah, thinking about, of course, our ones that have passed on from this great teacher. So with that, let's move ahead. Thank you.
So we also just wanted to acknowledge all of the women who have participated in the watch study. There were 48 women across the country, as well as our, oops, I don't know why this is moving, sorry. As well as our elders, knowledge keepers, and supporters, Nancy Rowe, Sheila Nyman, Mary Rose Naitauhau, Manny Chakabi, Heather Collar, and Chris Leonard. On all of us who've been involved as facilitators and working together as a team, we just wanted to honor and acknowledge our wonderful ways of working together.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Can you just announce, well, I guess I can. We're going to be recording this session. If there's any pieces that you don't want in the final recording, we can remove them. And the recording of this presentation will be shared on CAN's social media and webpage, if that's okay. But if anybody has hesitations or doesn't want this recorded, just let us know. You can send me a message privately, or you can talk.
Okay, thank you so much, Carrie. I'm now going to hand it over to Angela Kaida.
Well, thank you, Sarah. So, and Krista, thank you so much for starting us in such a good way, and that beautiful song and the beautiful photo. the beautiful singing. So thank you so much, and Val, as always, for opening us with those words to ground us in this space and this discussion that we're going to have today, this morning, where I am in Coast Salish territories. So we wanted to start our presentation today just with a bit of grounding about what we mean by the criminalization of HIV non-disclosure in Canada. The WATCH study was, initially developed to have discussions and to learn from women living with HIV about how criminalization was affecting their lives, and it expanded into much, much more, a much larger conversation than that. But we did want to start with understanding what criminalization means for those on the call who may not be aware of the current law. So people living with HIV can face charges for failing to disclose their HIV status to sexual partners prior to sex that poses a realistic possibility of HIV transmission. And that language is from the Supreme Court of Canada. It's based on a legal interpretation of HIV transmission risk, not a scientific interpretation of HIV transmission risk, which is very important because, of course, we talk about we know U equals U, that undetectable equals untransmittable, but that is not how the courts have interpreted the HIV transmission risk. So being charged with not disclosing can occur regardless of whether there was an intention to transmit, and also regardless of whether transmission actually happens. So those features do not matter in the court interpretation. It's about disclosure and not disclosure. The duty to disclose is averted only in the case of condom-protected vaginal sex with a low HIV plasma viral load, which the court defined as less than 1,500 copies per mil. So both of those features need to be present in the sex, both a condom and a low viral load, as the language of the courts. And here in Canada, we don't have HIV-specific laws. So in our case, the sexual assault laws are those that are most commonly applied to HIV non-disclosure cases. And why that works is that the courts have considered non-disclosure as constituting fraud. So you're violating the consent that was given for an otherwise consensual sexual encounter. So, conviction of the charge of aggravated sexual assault can result in imprisonment and mandatory registration as a sex offender on the National Sex Offender Registry. So just to say that the consequences of a charge of non-disclosure are severe, inconsistent, completely out of touch with what we know, what it means to, like the risk of transmitting HIV or what it means to live with HIV. And it's also very, inconsistent is generous language, but it's inconsistent with the objectives of sexual assault law, which is to protect women and advance gender equality. And so using sexual assault law to actually harm women living with HIV is an extraordinary injustice of the law. I will also say that there has been advocacy in Canada led by community, mostly by people living with HIV, to end the overcriminalization of HIV non-disclosure. So in December of 2018, we had prosecutorial directives from the federal government that really was advising prosecutors to more closely align with scientific evidence regarding HIV transmission risk. And then in June of last year, the Standing Committee on Justice and Human Rights convened experts from across the country, including Val Nicholson and others as part of this work and the broader community of folks working to end overcriminalization of HIV non-disclosure, and to really bring them together to provide expert testimony to develop recommendations of ways to reduce the harms associated with criminalization. And there's ongoing activism today, every day, about promoting uptake and ensuring that directives are more closely aligned with the realities of people living with HIV and the harms produced by this law. So this, just in a nutshell, we needed to provide a background of where the need for questions about how criminalization was affecting women living with HIV came from, and that the understanding of the forms of injustice and harm created by the law is what initiated our discussions about this study. And so I think I'll turn it from this point over Sarah, is that going back to you, or you want me to keep going?
You can.
Keep going. Okay, so so we came to the Women, Art, and the Criminalization of HIV, or the WATCH study. Very clever acronym, I think. And essentially, we are a national collaborative team comprised of women living with HIV, academic researchers, members of community health and social service organizations. We've come together to conduct an arts and community-based research project. And the goal of our project was to explore how criminalization of HIV non-disclosure impacts women living with HIV. Next slide. And so what this is actually a photo of our team. You can see Sarah, myself, Val, Krista, and many of our other colleagues and collaborators in this photo, where we've come together as a team. We're grounded in community-based research principles, feminist research principles, and indigenizing learning for many of us about indigenizing the research approach. Our approach is arts-based, participatory. It's grounded in the learnings and expertise of HIV activism in Canada, meaning that we're not conducting research just for research. This is about transformation. This is about change, research for change. And we were very lucky to have legal experts as part of our team as well. I'll just shout out Alison Symington, who plays such a critical role on our team to really make sure that we are grounded in what the legal language and legal implications of HIV non-disclosure means for our team and for our research. And together, this question about criminalization is a very, very difficult one. When we criminalize topics, we make the research or the investigation of those topics similarly difficult and challenging for our participants. So kind of create another structural layer, another structural barrier to exposing the harms and injustice when you're looking at a question of criminalization. But we came to a method to explore these questions called body mapping. And it's really, I'll turn it to Sarah to give some of the history of how we got to body mapping, but really I'll just reflect to say we needed a method that could allowed women to share and talk about their experiences without it being so pointed, like how has criminalization affected you, as if we live these lives in isolation from the broader structures and forces that are bearing on our decision making. So I think at this point, I'll turn it to Sarah to give us some of that history.
Before I go into the history, I just wanted to hand it over to Val, who had a beautiful way of talking about body mapping.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Angela. And thank you, Krista, for your beautiful opening. So in my Indigenous culture, when we put something down on paper, we're giving it back not only to the paper, but to where the paper came from. We're giving it back to the land. And the paper now owns it. So we don't have to carry it ourselves anymore. The paper carries it for us and nature takes care of us. Thank you.
Okay. So yes, thank you to Val and Krista for that beautiful, beautiful way of opening up our talking about our research process and some of our findings, and to Angela for giving us a really good grounding and why we came to work together. So I'm going to talk a little bit about body mapping, what it actually is, and how we learned it as a team, how we came to it as a team, so that you can understand where the findings have been grounded in and through. So body mapping isn't new. It's been used for many, 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 many years as an experiential form of both art and narrative expression. Artist Jane Solomon and a psychologist by the name of Jonathan Morgan actually came together in the beginning of 2000 to transform the body mapping methodology during the time that the Médecins Sans Frontières rolled out the antiretrovirals for the first time in Kalichi Township in South Africa in 2001. what they really wanted to do was actually provide people with an opportunity to talk about what it was to live with HIV, not where now there was hope, a potential of thinking about, seeing a lot of death and dying, and now there was this potential for living a much longer and healthier life because of the role of the antiretrovirals. But there were still lots of questions about what it is to be living with HIV at that time, which was in the South African context. And they also wanted to talk about both the successes and implications of the ARVs to many of South Africans who were not accessing treatment. And this work was done specifically with South African women living with HIV. And so body mapping has expanded, not just from the work of Solomon and Morgan, but into many different places all over the world. And it's used in many different kinds of settings, both as like a therapeutic technique, as a way to break down linguistic barriers, and as Angela said, to be able to talk about sensitive topics like sex, like health challenges, and other issues, like, for example, experiences of migration. So body mapping is an arts-based tool that uses symbols and painting exercises, visualizations, talking in groups, sharing, and reflecting. It is a way of using art to tell life stories. And the purpose initially was to facilitate self-healing. As a team, we felt that if we were going to be asking women to tell their life story, we had to give something back. And part of what we were giving back was an opportunity for connection, relationship building, and, the potential for healing. Body map can be used for research and advocacy in addition to therapy, where drawings and paintings are used as both data so that we can share what we've learned, but also as a way to advocate for, in our case, legal reform. And it's supplemented by reflections, writing, and verbal stories, narrated stories. Body maps communicate feelings and experiences to raise awareness about a particular political, personal, social, legal, or public health issue. And, it's being used in many different projects beyond HIV. And it's really kind of interesting to see how it's being taken up. Ideas and issues can be explored. And as Angela say, we didn't want to be doing work where you're just sort of asking somebody to talk about their experience, record it, and potentially never, connect with them again. Body mapping, because it happens in a small group and happens over multiple days, allows people to have the time that they need to think about what they want to convey on their body map and what they want to share about their body map in a way that isn't intrusive. And it's very much led by the person themselves. Because body mapping can trigger emotional memories, we wanted to make sure that we always connected throughout the day and at the end of the day through sharing circles, and in the evenings beyond the sharing circle, to be there for each other. But also, by looking at beautiful images and telling stories, we created opportunities to celebrate courage and strength. I wanted to offer another quote by Judith Apondi-Odhiambo, who was also on our team, who talked about her experience of body mapping, who said, "Body mapping approach provided a unique opportunity for the participants to connect with their inner being, reflect and introspect their lives as they engaged in art. Although the participants made participants face their past and current reality in the most vulnerable way, in the end, they acknowledged how therapeutic and healing their experience was." And Apondi is also not just talking about the experience of participants, but of her own and our own as a group's experience, because we actually all did our own body maps before we were asking anybody else to do their own. So body mapping offers an opportunity for people to see their own lived realities in a new light, in an artistic representation, and to garner support from connected people that they've been with throughout the process. It's an opportunity for self-reflection and also for group reflection, to discuss and identify fears, challenges, and recognizing that other people have similar experiences, to see if there's anything missing, and to create a safe space to discuss life challenges and experiences of strengths and resistance, as we'll be getting into later. Our team came to body mapping because we had agreed early on that we wanted to use an arts-based approach in our research together for the reasons that and we've all talked about up until now. We knew that it would provide really compelling data and an opportunity for a more creative way to do advocacy work. And we wanted to engage in opportunities for connection, support, and healing, and relationship building. And it was Val Nicholson who first suggested body mapping. Both Val and Marvelous Machenje, who was on the team as well, had experience doing their own body maps, and felt that this would be a really great experience for other women living with HIV. And we all got very, very excited about this possibility. We had early conversations with Doris Pelletier and with Krista Shore to really talk about how do we think about using body mapping as a way not to just talk about experience that creates vulnerabilities, but to develop artistic visual exercises that were specifically grounded in telling stories about women's strengths and stories and experiences of resilience. Now
oh, go ahead.
Now I'm just gonna pass it on to Krista.
And that's my cue. Sorry, Sarah.
It's all good.
Okay, I'm gonna read the quote. I believe within my heart, my creator and my God, that I can do anything and conquer all my fears and challenges in life. And I will get to the top and do everything that I need to do to take care of myself, mentally, physically, emotionally, all the ways. Watch participant.
Thank you, Krista. And we really want to bring this presentation together, starting with the voices of the women. And like it has been, and I just really want to reinforce what Angela said, in Canada, sexual assault laws are used to criminalize people who do not disclose their HIV status to partners prior to sex. That presents a realistic possibility of transmission. Women, art, and the criminalization of HIV is a community and art-based study that was developed in a response to this evidence that the laws is out of touch with women's lives. In this presentation, we will share the ways that women living with HIV demonstrate resilience and resistance against the law. Krista?
Resistance and resilience, two key themes that emerged out of our participatory analysis process. Resistance, I've accepted me for who I am. Resilience, oh my goodness today. Resistance, accept us for who we are.
Thank you, Krista. This really involved a lively discussion about the difference between resistance and resilience and how they are really connected. And the distinctive of these two ideas was apparent and was reflected throughout the images and words of the women that participated in this workshop. These two very strong themes were voiced loud and clear: resilience, resistance. Krista?
So coming together really was quite a big process. It was a lot of learning for myself. It was kind of opening my eyes to the coding process, but also being challenged with bringing the Indigenous lens to the approach while we were all together. I was so grateful to be in a room full of quite a diverse team from all different backgrounds, and with the resistance and resilience themes that came out, the team just came together, and it was apparent that we wanted to really, expose the truths and the realities of the law, but we wanted to kind of change the narrative, because we were finding women speaking on resistance and resilience, and then quite, in most ways, when you're dealing with women that are showing signs of resistance or resilience, it's not really understood. So, along from changing the narrative and drawing on the strengths and kind of digging deep at deeper at the terms resistance and resilience, we had to really think about unpacking the trauma and moving from that to a strength-based narrative. What we've seen in the rooms, and I know for myself that, there was a lot of truth-telling and a lot of vulnerability, but there was phenomenal moments where the women, talked one another back to life again, encouraged one another, took time to educate one another, and they were literally building their toolkit. They came with toolkits already, and they were just continually building, and that's the phenomenon of women. For many, their lives and their sense of beings were stronger, and some were very strong already, and that just grew even more. So it was just really really good to focus on the resistance and resilience on a strength-based narrative, because that's really looking at the trauma, being honest about the trauma. And hopefully when people pick up this information, and the reform and stuff, we're calling to action for that, maybe then we could really in a human family in regards to trauma, because that we're seeing a lot of people suffering from exact trauma, and unfortunately they end up criminalized by the system and in very vulnerable places where there was really not too many choices or options, period. So kind of two choices, one's, they're both equally heavy. So yeah, we wanted to change the narrative and really go on a strength-based approach as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. And to add to this, where we did this work was at Springbrook Retreat Center on the territories of the Kwantlen peoples. And while working there, I can remember one of our team saying, "I'm being held hostage here," because we couldn't leave. We were so remote on the land, but really close to the city also here on. And our plan was to focus on specific images related to strength, support, resistance, and resilience, like Krista taught us here. And then to look at the accompanying narrative. And we started putting together an inventory of images, but notice there was so much variation in the imagery used that this book learning approach did not work for us. So we really had to indigenize this approach. And I will turn it over to the next slide.
What we learned as the process unfolded: decolonize our coding process to understand the meaning behind some images on the women's body map. So in the one picture, we're seeing the home and the trap line, and the meaning of family, and really a lot of kinship values, I guess we would kind of reflect to when we look at the image of the home, and real, reflective of our natural ways of being, living off the land, and language, you know, the family roles and systems, the tightness of, you know, the brothers and the sisters of this family. I picture the woman that shares this image in my mind. It's so beautiful. And over to the next picture here, we have a very wonderful picture that says culture saves lives, and it is a sweetgrass. And so sweetgrass is very symbolic as Mother Earth's hair, and it's one of our four sacred medicines. And so burning the sweetgrass is a very powerful medicine, helps to really align your thinking. And they say it's a direct connection and conduit to speaking to Creator. And as you burn it, that our prayers and the thoughts of our mind, you know, even the ails of our hearts, you know, it all goes up into, you know, Creator in that respect. And that talks about our ways of being, seeing, and doing. And this participant shares that with us, and the meaning about culture saving lives because of how integral culture plays into her life.
Thank you, Krista.
Thank you.
I would like to add that the majority of the women that participated in this project were Indigenous women living with HIV, who drew on their culture and spiritual symbols to describe strength and resilience. When we were creating our inventory of the different images and narratives, it became evident that we needed to indigenize our process, like I said earlier, to more deeply understand the meaning behind a lot of these images on the women's body maps. For example, when we were coding, Indigenous team members noted the different symbols women were using for home, like Krista gave us such a beautiful example, that home could be represented by either that trap line or that sacred fire. And that sweetgrass was represented both as nature and medicine for many Indigenous women. And there was an entirely distinct theme from women drawing trees and grass and describing self-care as time spent in nature. Next slide, please.
This one is resilience and resistance are woven together. Women enact resilience in various ways. Foster resilience through active resistance. Acts of resistance strengthen resilience for a better future. So in the icon, in the picture here, that's pictured from one of the participants, it says love, love, and it has a big heart around it. It says, I am strong. It says life. So despite having to talk about some very, very vulnerable, sometimes very traumatic, very heavy and hurtful times, experiences, thoughts, and stories that they carry, they're, you know, very resilient in their being and reflecting on their strengths within. And I really believe this is, you know, the ways forward and really embracing our you know, human family and steering clear of criminalizing our positive people. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. And the women showed and taught us that acts of resistance and resilience are woven together. Women shared how they built resilience through acts of resistance that they carry with them, and that reconciliation must start within ourselves before society can reconcile with us. If we don't resist, we carry the shame, the blame, stigma, which perpetrates oppression. And once we open ourselves up and educate and say that this is unjust, then our energies will shift. We will be sharing with you how women enact resilience, how resilience is fostered through active resistance, and how these acts of resistance strengthen resilience and the women's vision for a better future, not only for themselves, but our peers and future generations. Next slide, please.
Enacting resilience. Women enact resilience through family, culture, spirituality, self-care, and advocacy. One participant shares, I find out I was HIV positive, but that not stopped my life. I am still up. I'm still fighting. I'm still a survivor. And right now, I'm in the best place. I have love. And you could see the significance, you know, on spirituality when you see the symbol of the bear, you know, the bear clan, and the direct connection that our participant has with, you know, the family systems and our spiritual clan systems and the roles that are attained there. Also next to it, you see also our medicine wheel, which is reflective of many things, seasons, ways of life, our different quadrants of our being as a human. And then you see on equal, Jesus is Lord, because this is the life in the world that we live in. Spirituality is spirituality. And, you know, that's the place that our participant was in, to see them both as equal and a way to feed herself spiritually in a place of resistance and strength. And you see arms, you know, muscular arms there, you know, that can symbolize lots, strength, having a strong mind, having a, you know, clear, loving heart, an open heart, having an I can do it attitude. You know, she talks about being a survivor, still fighting, you know, getting back up after, you know, life knocks you down. Fall down 9 times, get back up 10. Courage to live a better life. And I really think and believe that is what our people really want is you know, living a better life, and that is what they thrive for. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. And to add, women are far from passive receivers of support. Every single woman who participated in the WATCH study shared how they enacted resilience in many different ways in their daily lives. Women enacted resilience through providing care to others, to upholding the strength in their families, kinship, advocacy, self-care, and most of all, self-acceptance. And I love that ending, I have love. Next slide, please.
Acts of resistance through education and community outreach. Our participants shares, my logo would be the key is to share all my knowledge that I've learned, teach it, share it. And so you see a lot of imagery here. I'm gonna read some of it. Be careful, ask a lot of questions, and get a second opinion. Help change, get involved. Speaking about that, you know, inner change eventually goes to outer change. Your families are, you know, then therefore changed. Your nation then therefore is benefited in the world. Get involved speaks to advocacy, you know, doing that nation building. We see of course, the symbol of our medicine wheel and a feather. The feather has many stories. Also a strong teacher about our passages of life, how we come here soft at the bottom like a newborn baby's hair, you know, all pure and feathery and just fluffy and new. And then, you know, as you go along the center of the feather, you know, it takes on its life and its look, and none of the feathers are the same. Beautiful. You take a look at the fire. Fire is symbolic of many things. You know, sharing that fire, taking the beauty of your home fire and being able to go share it as cousins, sisters, and relatives, but also, you know, in bigger areas across the nation, building teams of research, building stronger partnerships of your advocacy. And that's just to name a few. Looking over here in the corner, it says, educate, be the voice, reach out, serenity. And that image just, yeah, it's just, wow, what a powerful image. And you see the heart, core of everything. Love, learn, teach it, share it. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista, for sharing those beautiful images with us. And in this way, supporting women is supporting the community. As they shared how they resist the law, how they resist stigma and discrimination that they face through acts of education and community outreach. I'd like to end this slide with a quote from another woman that shared with us, "We need change, and that's what I'm all about right now for me today. I'm going to carry that until there is some kind of change that is suitable for everybody." Such powerful words. Next slide, please.
Enacting resilience, envisioning a better life. Our participant shares, in order to achieve your dreams, you have to have a vision of which way you want to go. So you see the one of all the people, the people-y icon there, community. Looks like there's a lot of words of support in their self-care, acts of self-care, who supports them and what they do for self-care, and how it kind of looks like, you know, a person's job isn't only their own personal journey themselves, you know, how we lean on one another, and we all really need another. And I just really think of Jerry Bailey right in this moment right now. You know, Jerry Bailey, I remember in Ottawa, you know, years ago, and she took the podium, and she just, you know, she's older than me, of course, and older than many of us, but she took the podium and she really had a message for us that day. And she said, you know, like, she said we all need one another, you know. And for me, as a young woman at the time, you know, as young as you could think, you know, I thought, wow, I just need me, I just need myself. But really, you come to learn how you really need, you know, one another and everybody, especially in this work, just to really, you know, come together and thrive off the love and taking the action forward, and, you know, the knowledge transfer piece. Sorry, that came to my mind. Rest in peace to Jerry Bailey. Next logo or icon I'm looking at here is a home with, it looks like it's glowing and it's beaming of love. And, you know, there's some trees. Trees are very grounding. And as Val said, that there was many, many trees. People were very symbolic around the trees. So I just look at this and I think about how, you know, as participants, you know, how strong the message is on how home is so integral and important, home within ourselves, you know, because everywhere we go, we take home with us. Having a home as a physical space and filling that home with that love and letting that beam and perspirate outwards in the trees, you know, having grounding, having that grounding. Grounding can be faith. Dreams, vision. Dreams and visions. We even see the yin and the yang up in the corner too. Really speaks to our diversity and unity in a human family. Powerful. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. And we've shared with you these acts of resistance, and in turn are woven together to strengthen internal resilience. And that women build resilience through everyday acts and activism, and resist the current climate of oppressions through visioning how the future can be different. I would like to share with you a quote from another woman who envisions, "This is my vision, just having my family together and my children, having custody of them and being married, having my home, stability, and a career, and happiness." Such powerful words. Thank you. Krista?
And here we go, folks. You get just a real strong visual of healing and what that looks like, you know, amongst all the depths and trials, tribulations our women carry. They're phenomenal in their strength and, you know, their resilience. And when faced with these challenges, boy, the potential of them to really dig deep, and I've just, to see that overflow and people come, you know, across my path, just know so much already, and, you know, are able to go through that already and, you know, be so generous, partake in community, you know, nation building, and love unconditionally, and you know, keep the truth telling, you know, like Val said, leave it on the paper, you know. And I think a lot of women wanted to reflect as a mirror to the other women, hope, you know, faith. Things are going to get better. Keep putting in action, keep working at all the projects that we're individually working in, and some of them collaboratively, and, you know, and really wanting other women to see the strength within. And just look at that, walk a mile in my shoes and you'll know what fearless means. It's powerful. Sisters of fire, hope, peace, love. Oh, I just get shook even, you know. I got chills. We are not the problem, but part of the solution, you know. And they speak that loudly without shame. I think it's important we let a lot of people see this, and, you know, speaking out, no fear, native pride. And you see that butterfly, and you think about metamorphosis, and you think about being a caterpillar and thinking, you know, I can't, you know, I'm not going to make it. And then change in life, you know, cycles happen, and then boom, butterfly. Mama bear, umbrella, children, our hope for the future, our role in protecting our children, keeping them safe from harm, honoring our ways of life. Positive, beautiful, equal, not a criminal, she says. Participant says, culture saves life once again. That is just phenomenal. Sometimes you gotta suffer to get to the good stuff. Strive to survive. And these are participants, you know, sometimes, you know, they're not, they don't have the abilities. Some of the women came with different places in their life and different abilities in their life. And, you know, they still participated and gave it their all, fanned their fire, and, you know, carried that love back home to their homes. And HIV attacks the body. Prejudice kills the soul. So it really speaks to, like, let's take a look at the resistance and the resilience and not label them. Let's lift them up, and, you know, let's talk the life to them. You know, the same life they talk to us through this work, and, you know, be reflective of that. I find it so empowering. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. And this really shows that our findings underscore the critical need for feminist, participatory, but especially strength-based advocacy concerning the law. We honor the women's resilience and resistance and support them to thrive in their journey of living with HIV. And I'd also like to go back to this. I look at that hope, peace, and love. Sisters of fire. Just think of that fire in your spirit, in your heart, and how that protects ourselves from the injustice of this law and from all forms of oppression. And that fire teaches us that there's always a new beginning. And like Krista said, we may fall down, but we need to get up that 10th time. So I honor you for taking this journey with us, and I believe we have another slide. So we would like to say thank you. I would really love to honor Krista's body map there on the left. It is so beautiful. And if you have any questions or if you would like more discussions on the body maps, we are here for you before we go into our interactive activity.
I'm sorry, I was just having technical difficulty. I just kind of have an awkward space here with my desk. So here I go. I'm gonna show myself for a little bit. So as we had kind of requested, or I'm not sure if you got the note, but we did send out an invite to participants to, they were welcome to bring something symbolic today to our virtual gathering. And so I was thinking very hard about this, well, not really thinking that hard. I guess I got the idea once, of course, sitting with Val and Sarah. They're just, so much ideas all the time and so inspiring. But this is what I had brung today. And if I could just kind of kick off about the sharing is this right here. It's a lanyard, and it's beadwork of a gift that has been given to me, and it's been given to me by somebody that is very close to me in regards to my family. This has been beaded by my children's auntie, and she is a non-First Nations person. And so to be given something from a non-First Nations person, for me, from suffering and having a lot of life experiences in my life, this has been very healing and grounding for me. She had seen I have a tattoo. Some people that know me know I have a tattoo on my body, and some may know the story about that tattoo. And that tattoo is reflective and symbolic of how life is at times, and the lily, how it comes from underneath the mud that's immersed in water and in the muck and in the gunk of mud, which I like mud anyways, but in the gunk, in the mud. And when the sun rises, grandfather's sun rises in the sun, the lilies will come out of that muck and they rise up out of the water to the sun. And so I kind of find it kind of a metaphor for me in my life. And so it's on my body, and she has taken a lot of time. And if you see how big it is, and if you knew the specific of the beads, they're not easy to bead with these ones. And so she put lots of time. She is from another culture, and she always learns. She has a heart to learn. And that's the thing I really admire about her. She's very smart, and she has an open heart and an open mind. So this really just kind of comforts me and suffices me with some of my trauma and some of the pain that I have unfortunately experienced in this life. And so this is a part of me when I go out and I'm asked to represent my community. I wear this, and I wear it proudly. Beadwork is symbolic. Today we've modernized, and we've used, trading systems and things now. It's not just quills now. We're adapted to using beads now, and beads are on our regalia. There's a lot of sacredness to them. You could tell stories stringing one bead, with another bead to the next and all of that. You could tell how, looking at this, it's not perfect, but it's beautiful. And that's exactly what life is about, and that's what I find about working with the women and walking in this project is the phenomenal strength, beauty, love that just emanates from their being, and the strong medicine that they are. And yet we are not not one of us are alike, but we are in some ways, and we are just a work of art, all of us, each and every one of us. And yeah, I just really am honored to wear something like this. I, you know, had lots of challenges in my life in regards to identity. So, you know, I really feel like my chest is out, you know, and my spirit is, you know, times 10 today. My spirit is times 10 being with all of you today. Thank you so much. And I just, yeah, wanted to bring that to the sharing today.
Thank you. And I open it up and invite anyone, if they have brought a symbol or would like to talk about or to show it, of strength, resilience, or resistance. While we're waiting, I chose an eagle feather, and it was an image that I saw quite a while ago of a beautiful woman who was protesting the pipelines and really protecting. She was a land protector, and she went down on her knees and she held her eagle feather, and the whole SWAT team just stopped, and that feather and her energies just held them back, and they did not cross that line. One person, one feather.
Oh, I love that.
Renee and then Angela.
Thank you, Angela. Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry I missed most of the presentation. It's anyway, I really, really appreciate and hold you up for the amazing work that you've been doing, and it's so exciting to see, to hear what you're talking about, and to be able to have a chance to see some of the last slides and remember this project. I didn't get the message, so this is a bit of a spur of the moment, but just something that this is like, okay, it's a little purse. I don't know, you might recognize it, Val. It came from BC. So, and when you open it, forgive me. So it sings a little happy song.
Happy song.
And so, I mean, this is not a wonder. This is my resilience and my resistance. So, or it captures some part of how I understand resilience and resistance. And it's finding moments to be joyous and silly and simple, and just to, this was actually, it was sent to me from BC from a really dear friend, from the friend that actually unintentionally set my entire path in terms of the HIV/AIDS movement and being involved in HIV and AIDS. And so, but when I, you know, think of there are so many beautiful and powerful ways of representing what we do and why we do. But I think that sometimes there are just those moments of being, just finding happiness, right? Just finding something that makes you, that has those, even just the, you know, those seconds of listening to the happy song and the little googly eye thing that just somehow just makes it good to be alive. And then that makes it, that makes everything else manageable, or it fuels me up again to dive into whatever's hard again, because it's just that kind of like, it's good to be alive. So that's, those are my moments when I'm really down, that I just need to be lifted up and then contribute. So yeah, I'm just happy to share my purple happy purse with you.
Thank you, Renee, for sharing. And I did say Angela's next, but she wants Claudette to go before her. So we'll honor that.
Okay.
And Claudette.
Yes. I do believe I got to share my screen, don't I? Or am I on video? Can you see me?
I see you.
I see you. Hi, everyone. So we're on the heart theme, and I too forgot to get my thing, but it was close by. I just want to share, because Mother Nature, I collect a lot of rocks. If I put all my rocks around here, I could probably create something. I haven't done it yet, but I have many rocks surrounding me. And this one comes to mind because it was just sitting on a dresser over there. And can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
And see how it's rough and chiseled, and Mother Earth took their time, and it's like natural. And I just want to share, from everybody's heart to my heart, you're all there.
Thank you, Claudette. That's beautiful. Angela?
Oh, Claudette. First of all, so wonderful to see you and to see all of you. I mean, this is kind of like the most beautiful screen of people that I think I've had since Zoom became our reality. So I'm just so delighted to see all of you. And I'll just say that when I was thinking about this idea, this interactive part of it today, I was, oh, what do you think I'll show? And then my youngest son has been telling us all week about how they're learning to do graffiti at school, like in their art at school. They're learning graffiti and, talking about graffiti as, an act of resistance and an artistic form of sort of taking back space by communities that are not given, granted that space. And anyway, so it's been really like incredible to sort of hear him think about it. He said, oh yeah, I made graffiti. I'm going to make, I also have a message. So it's partway done. And I found it on the table this morning, which I thought was just so perfect. It's not done yet, but it's partway done. Okay. You can see, this is like his sketch of his graffiti, and I couldn't quite read it at first. I was like, oh, what's your message, through your resistance? And it says, be kind. Just was stuck. How do you, how are you going to engage in this world and have acts of resistance and resilience? And what is your message going to be? Be kind. So I just was, what more can I say? So I was just so touched by that. And I just thought it just brought me back to our time together at Springbrook, doing this participatory analysis as a team and just the I guess just the power in the room and how the power it comes from a place of strength, but it comes from a place of love of self and love of others. And it was really a privilege to be part of those discussions and to share this as a representation from me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela, and thank you, your son. Is there someone that would like to share next? So, okay, we'll go Nadia and then Sarah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Oh, Nadia was telling me she couldn't hear me. Right?
Oh, I think she just volunteered though. For me, that's a volunteer. So Nadia, I'll give you a few more minutes to think about that and you can go after Sarah.
I was going to say when Val and Krista and I were planning the other day, we were thinking, what if nobody tells a story with an image? So I said, okay, I will tell a story of resistance, and it just happens to be Hanukkah. Tonight is the second night, and the whole story of Hanukkah is about Jewish resilience at the time when the temple was destructed and people had no light. Everything went into darkness, and it was found that there was enough oil left in the temple to last until, well, they didn't know how long it would last. And it turned out that it lasted for 8 days. And after 8 days, they lit the candles with this little bit of oil for 8 days, which was a miracle because it was only supposed to last for 1 day. And then that's when all the support came to help them to rebuild the temple. So that is my just historical story of resilience that happens to be being celebrated tonight. And I'm going to be making lots of potato pancakes and having my house smell like a greasy diner. Well worth it because they're really yummy.
Thank you so much for sharing, Nadia.
I can go next. I conveniently have a to-go mug here that I have incredibly had since 2008. When I was in my first year of my Master's of Public Health at SFU. It has a lot of dings in it. The JJ Beans logo is completely gone, which is a coffee shop from Commercial Drive. And it was actually a gift from one of my friends, Evelyn Dell. And I guess I can't believe I haven't lost it yet, but it's a mug that I carry with me on difficult days, like a gray one in Montreal today, because I think, like so many of us, what keeps me strong and resilient is really connections to people in my past and my present. And like Krista said earlier, we all need one another. And so that's definitely my source of strength. And I think also just a nice coincidence that this is coming from Vancouver. I'm in Montreal now, but we're all still connected on this Zoom. If there's a silver lining, seeing all of you more regularly is certainly one of them.
Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else that would like to share a symbol or speak about their strength, resilience, or resistance symbol?
Hi everyone. I didn't bring a symbol. I just want to say this is a photo that I have of my mom. It's probably the only one I have. And today would have been her 67th birthday. So today is always a horrible day for me. But she is the reason that I am where I am today. She passed when I was only 16. And I think about her every time I achieve something, every time I have to take on a big challenge. I see her in my baby boy, which makes me very happy. So today would be her birthday, and I'm going to get through today, and that's it. So she's my symbol of strength.
Oh, we lost you, Carrie.
Oh, do you hear me now? I have a bad.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay, I have a bad internet connection. It's saying your internet connection is unstable. So, but yeah, that's my symbol.
Thank you so much for sharing. No pressure, but is there anyone else?
Hi, everybody. This is Monique.
Hi,
Sorry,
Monique.
my husband is we share an office space. I guess when I'm thinking about everything that you guys have shared so much today, I think about my family, and the one person that comes to mind is my grandmother, Philemon. Her name was Philemon, and she's been in my mind a lot lately. And I think about her in the sense that she modeled such strong family values for us. You know, she raised 4 of her grandchildren. I'm raising 3 of my grandchildren, and to me, that is I guess some of the core values that I have. And so family, I don't have a picture of my family because I didn't realize we were doing this. So if I had to show something, it'd be show a picture of my family, my 7 children, my husband, and now our 3 grandchildren. So that's who I imagine when we're thinking about you know, this topic. And I thank you everyone for sharing. Krista, it's so beautiful to hear you singing. And Claudette, me and my daughter Megan, whenever we go to the water, that's one of the things that we always look for before we leave the beach. We have to find a heart-shaped rock. So that's our little tradition whenever we go to the beach. So I thank you all for sharing that. And Val, you know, you're one of my rocks. I love you, and thank you always for bringing such beautiful, empowering, powerful words when you do your openings. It means so much to me. And Carrie, thank you for sharing that picture of your mother. You know, it's beautiful. And so thank you. I have to leave a little early. I have to go pick up my son, but I just want to say thank you to everybody and thank you for this project. I learned so much today. So thank you so much. Hi.
Thank you so much for sharing. I see that we're just about at time and I would like to do a closing with you, but if there's anyone else that would like to share, we have a couple more minutes left. Okay, Jessica, thank you.
I'm so sorry, everybody, to join late. I sent some regrets earlier, but I just wanted to say miigwech. I know that the sharings have been beautiful, and I just want you to know that I'm always humbled and honored. It was beautiful to come in on the section on kindness, and I know you can't see it, but my brother's getting married tomorrow in New York, and they sent little infinity symbol necklaces to honor our heritage. And to me, that's my sign of strength, and that we're all internally and connected infinitely. So, miigwech.
Thank you so much. Okay, so for this closing, first of all, I would just like to give thanks to the very first 4 medicines that we were all gifted. Air that teaches us gratitude, water that teaches us relationships, they're ever changing. Fire that teaches us that there's always new beginnings, and earth that teaches us that we have responsibilities to ourselves, to all living things, and to each other. And without these first 4 medicines, our other medicines would not grow. Our sage, our sweetgrass, our tobacco, cedar, juniper, white pine, none of this would be growing without our very first medicines. So I would like you to just sort of put your feet solidly on the ground and just imagine that there's a beautiful body map in front of you, right? And it's laid out there and it has these messages on there. It has family. And think of that symbol that might be a family. We've heard the word grandmothers, future generations, children, connections to our past and to our present and to our future. Down in the corner, or maybe it's in the center, there's a to-go mug with the words 2008 written across it, and it has many dings in it. We've been given so many gifts. We see the message in graffiti, be kind, and maybe an image of the sun. We see that image of a water lily growing out of the beautiful healing mud, with grandfather's sun shining above all of this, looking down and giving us that warmth. We see the feather. We see happiness. It may be symbols of smiles or whatever makes you happy. It could be that beautiful tree that's growing up. We also see that purple, happy heart purse with the googly eyes. Such a vibrant purple right there in the middle of this body map, or maybe up in the corner. We see heart rocks, some of them rough, some of them are soft. And we also see the waters where we collect these rocks from. We see the light, we see the menorah. We also see rebuilding. We see a symbol of mum. We see the spirits that guide us from the spirit world, and we see our ancestors looking down with us on this beautiful body map that we have all just created here this afternoon and this morning for some of us. And the message that we have heard loud and clear, and this is the message because we always have a message on our body maps, that message that we want everyone to hear. We are all connected. We need each other. So this is our body map from this session. This is our words to treasure. And I thank you for sharing these beautiful words, these gifts that you have given to each other. And I want you to give yourselves a big hug as we go throughout our day and go into the weekend. So thank you.
Thank you, Val.
Thank you, Val. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
That was so wonderful. Thank you so much.
Love
Awesome.
that.
To
Thank
see
you,
everyone.
Krista, for your beautiful words today and your singing.
Oh yeah, your song. Yes.
Thank you.
Good to see everybody. So Facebook, I haven't seen you in so long.
I know. It's like
Bye bye.